Good evening, everyone. Please let me know in the chat if you all can hear me. I hope my voice is loud and clear. So welcome to today's webinar. I'm Dr. Tanushree, your host, and also one of the speaker in today's webinar. So today's webinar is on clinical research as a career, scope, salaries, and skills you need. Clinical research, it's a rapidly growing field that plays a pivotal role in medical advancement, public health, and global healthcare innovation. Yet for many, it's still a lesser known career path. Therefore, this webinar is designed to provide a comprehensive overview of the dynamic field of clinical research, its foundational importance in modern healthcare, evolving trends, and the diverse career opportunities it offers. So whether you are a student, job seeker, or a professional looking to transition into clinical research, this webinar offers actionable insights and industry-relevant guidance to support and streamline your career transition. To shed light on this important topic, we are honored to be joined by experienced and distinguished experts. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce our esteemed speakers of the day. We are honored to welcome Dr. Hitesh Barucha, Associate Director, RWE-HEOR at Eversana APAC, as one of our esteemed speakers for today's webinar. Dr. Hitesh possesses over 18 years of experience in steering clinical studies in various therapeutic areas. At Eversana APAC, he leads the project delivery and business development activities for RWE and HEOR services. His role focuses on providing strategic operational insights to healthcare clients, ensuring efficient project startup and comprehensive data collection with an end-to-end approach. Over the years, Dr. Hitesh has contributed to the execution of clinical trials, observational studies, and diagnostic research across both global and local pharmaceutical markets in the Asia Pacific and the European Union regions. His prior experience includes key roles at leading organizations such as Farkas Biosciences, Pfizer, Roche, Novartis Healthcare, IQVIA, and PRA International, where he specialized in clinical operations, monitoring, site relationship, vendor management, quality, and compliance. His academic credentials include a PhD in pharmacy practice, Bachelor of Pharmacy, postgraduate diploma in clinical research, and an MBA, reflecting his strong foundation in both science and management, making him a versatile leader in the clinical research domain. Dr. Hitesh will be leading session 3, where he will cover key career roles, required qualifications, salary trends in India and abroad, and the skills needed to grow in the clinical research industry. We warmly welcome you, sir, and look forward to gaining from your rich experience and insights.
Thank you, Dr. Tanushree. Happy to
Welcome,
be
sir.
here.
Also, we are thrilled to welcome Ms. Nikta Tiwari, a highly accomplished senior research fellow from IIT Roorkee with over 5 years of experience in computational biology, bioinformatics, and telemedicine system design. Ms. Nikta has made significant contributions at the intersection of basic and applied research, particularly in protein-protein and protein-ligand interactions, molecular docking and simulation studies, and healthcare or clinical data management. One of the highlights of her work includes leading the development of Utsarjan app, a digital health platform designed for pediatric nephrotic syndrome data collection and clinical research in collaboration with AIIMS Delhi. Currently pursuing a PhD in computational biology at Translation Bioinformatics Lab, Ms. Nikta brings a rich academic foundation with a background in chemistry and bioinformatics, alongside a passion for interdisciplinary research and advancing biotechnology or healthcare through innovation and collaboration. She currently serves as an academic support specialist at BioIT in BioIT and Clinical Research Department in Biotecnika. In session 2, Ms. Snigdha will explore the future of clinical research, covering emerging trends like artificial intelligence, digital and decentralized trials, and the growing impact of personalized medicine. She will also highlight its interdisciplinary nature and vital role of evidence-based medicine. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Tanushree, ma'am. Happy to collaborate.
Thank you, ma'am. A bit about me. I hold a PhD in biotechnology and was honored with DART Fellowship for a summer school at Leibniz University, Hanover, Germany. With over 10 years of teaching experience and 5 years of research experience, I have been associated, with Biotecnika for more than 6 years and currently serves as a category manager for clinical research and allied fields. I'll be leading the first session where I will cover the basics of clinical research, its importance in modern medicine and public health, the global scope and industry size, and key players in the market. Before we begin with the first session, just a quick note for everyone. We'll have a brief Q&A after third session, so feel free to post your questions in the chat as we go along. So now, without further ado, let's begin with the first session. Very good evening, Ayappan, Atriya, Revati. So are you all excited for the session 1? Can I get some fire in the chat? So I'm sure if you are here, that means either you aspire to join this field or want to know more about this field, right? And when we talk about clinical research, so it's very important for us to first understand what is clinical research. So let's begin with understanding what is clinical research. Clinical research is the comprehensive study of the safety and effectiveness of the most promising advances in patient care. Clinical research is the branch of medical research that involves people and aims to determine the safety and effectiveness of the promising advances like medications, diagnostic products, any devices, treatment regimes, which are intended for improving the human health. And I'm sure you all must have heard the term laboratory research also, right? Now, many people, they get confused between clinical research and laboratory research. Please remember, clinical research is different from laboratory research. So basically, when we talk about clinical research, it involves people who volunteer to help better understand medicine and health. So be it any medication, be it any drug, be it any device, be it any diagnostic product, be it any technique or technology which is used in medicine today was once tested in volunteers who took part in clinical research studies. However, when we talk about laboratory research, it does not involve people. Like, it helps us learn which new ideas may help people, but it directly doesn't involve any testing of any kind of advances or any kind of medications on people. And clinical research covers any medical method or product from its inception in lab to its introduction to the consumer market and beyond. See, this is very important. Clinical research is not only limited to the laboratory work, okay? It's just not involved the development of the drugs and the medications or developing the tools. Once it is developed, then safety and effectiveness, the study of the safety and study of that particular product, safety and effectiveness has been done. Even when it is launched into the market, then also the clinical research ensures that the product is safe and effective. So it is not only limited to the lab, it is more like beyond the lab. So this is very important point you need to keep in mind. Now, talking about the clinical research types, so mainly clinical research is of two types: observational studies and interventional studies or clinical trials. So let's first understand observational studies. As the name suggests, observational studies, they observe. They observe and gather information on humans in order to advance health knowledge. Observational studies are done to identify and analyze patterns in medical data or in biological samples. So, like blood samples, tissue samples, they have been collected, they have been studied to identify any medical condition, right? Medical data, which of the patients, they have been analyzed to find out any medical condition, any medical conditions, or in future, like they might have certain kind of disease. So observational studies, they look human behavior, they analyze health data, medical data, then they even understand the medical condition, or even they ensure that and even like they understand whether the people are taking up the treatment properly or not. Remember, no new medications are given during the observational studies, no intervention occurs. It is just done to draw conclusions about the causes and risk factors of specific disease or medical condition. And definitely, it has to be conducted in academic settings in collaboration with specialized medical team. So you need a doctor, you need a health professional, you need the people from the health networks. And also, it's not that result of the study is just an opinion of a doctor. No, it is a proper format, proper paperwork is being followed, proper guidelines has to be gone through, proper regulatory authorities are involved in the studies. So what are different types of observational studies that are done? So we have mainly three types of observational studies. We have case control studies, cohort studies, and cross-sectional studies. Case control studies, they compare case group with a specific disease and control group with no disease. For example, lung cancer. So let's say in a group there are patients with a lung cancer and another is a control group without any lung cancer. So the goal of case control study is to discover the risk factor for the disease. Now there are many risk factors. One of them is smoking. So the case control studies are done to investigate whether smoking is the risk factor or not. Then cohort studies, they compare two or more groups that are as similar as possible but differ in that one presents with a risk factor where other does not. So here two or more groups are involved, and so let's say one group smokes, which is the exposed group, and another group which doesn't smoke, which is the non-exposed group, right? So here the studies are done to determine whether the smoking might increase the risk of lung cancer over time. So these type of studies comes under cohort studies. And then we have cross-sectional studies where the health data is collected. So on large group of people at a given point in time. Like for example, let's say prevalence of hypertension in population. So the blood pressure levels are being monitored of several of the people, right? And so basically, the blood pressure levels are being examined to determine the proportion of the people with hypertension. So basically, cross-sectional studies are being done they're used to analyze the frequency of occurrence of disease or identify people which are most affected by medical condition. Now, coming to interventional or clinical trials, so interventional studies, clinical trials are also called as interventional studies. So if you remember, I told you that be it any medication, be it any device, any diagnostic product, any technology, they all have been tested in volunteers who took part in clinical studies, clinical research studies. So clinical trials, they test the safety and effectiveness of medical interventions. And there are broad categories of clinical trials. So we have like treatment clinical trials. So treatment clinical trials, as the name suggests, they test new treatments or ways to make existing ones more effective, right? Like for example, let's say testing drug for breast cancer, right? So the treatment clinical trials are done to see whether they work better than the standard chemotherapy which is widely used. Then prevention clinical trials, again as the name suggests, it's the new ways to lower the risk of developing a disease or to stop the disease from coming back. So prevention, like we are using it to prevent the occurrence of a disease. Like for example, human papilloma virus vaccine, which can be given to prevent the cervical cancer in women. Then we have screening clinical trials. Screening clinical trials are done to find a disease in its early stages before even people have symptoms. So let's say let's say having a blood test, right? So let's say if a blood test is developed which can detect the colon cancer earlier than when screening is done using colonography, right? When current screening method is colonoscopy, sorry, not colonography, colonoscopy. So using that, if a blood test is available, then using that we can detect the colon cancer. Then diagnostic clinical trials. Diagnostic clinical trials helps find better way to diagnose a medical condition or determine its specificities. Like for example, testing new imaging techniques like MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, using which we can diagnose the Alzheimer's disease. And then we have supportive care clinical trials, which improve the comfort and quality of life of people with specific medical conditions. So let's say any new pain management therapy which improves the quality of life in patients which are already undergoing treatment for bone cancer. So these are some of the examples of the different categories of clinical trials. So remember, there are 4 phases of clinical trials as well. So it's a very detailed topic, which is not possible to cover in just 15 to 20 minutes session. So if you want to learn more about clinical research, we are upcoming with a clinical research training program with 1, 3, and 6 months applied project as well as placement assistance. So for details, you can contact on a toll-free number, or even you can visit stores.biotecnika.org. All the information is on your screen. You can go through it. So are you all following? I hope you all are following. Ayappan, Revati. So far, I think foundation of clinical research is clear to you all. And even like one more thing I would like to add here, like there are several terms used like clinical research, clinical study, clinical trial. Now, many people, they get confused between these terms, right? So remember, when you talk about clinical research, it's a broad field where you study like which involves human participation, okay, and you study various aspects of human health, disease, and treatment. But when you talk about clinical studies, it's a subset of clinical research, okay, it's a subset of clinical research which involves clinical trials and observational or non-intervention studies. And specifically, when you talk about clinical trial, it's a type of clinical study that tests an intervention, any medication, any device, any diagnostic product in a controlled environment. So I hope the difference between all these 3 is clear to you all. Quickly coming to importance in modern medicine and public health. So see, we all have seen this this COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, right? In the past, in several countries, Ebola pandemic has also occurred. And I'm sure you all will agree that now cancer has become so common, right? Diabetes, cancer, hypertension, right? These diseases have become very common nowadays, right? So definitely there is a need of new medications, much more effective drugs, cost effective tools. We need to develop the tools which can like in less time and in low cost, they can help us in diagnosing a particular medical condition, right? So clinical research plays a very important role in development of new treatments. Like I'm sure you all have heard of CAR T cell therapy now, right? So CAR T cell therapy is now used to treat several lymphomas and leukemias, right? So it is all because of clinical research. We are able to develop new treatments. Then evidence-based practice. So I will not go in detail. Evidence-based practice will be covered in detail by Snigdha ma'am in the next session. So like for example, low dose aspirin, how it can prevent the second heart attack. So that comes under evidence-based practice. Then vaccine development, messenger RNA vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, we all have seen they have been developed during the pandemic, right? Safety and efficacy monitoring. Let's say there is a vaccine which is introduced into the market. So whether it is safe, it is safe and effective even after being introduced into the market. So post marketing surveillance of any drug or medication for tracking long term side effects and effectiveness is also comes under is very important, and that is all being taken care by clinical research studies. Then public health impact. Public health impact, like for example, smallpox. I'm sure you all have heard of smallpox, eradication of smallpox through global vaccination program, right? So even clinical research studies take care of that. Then we have improving quality of life. Improving quality of life with respect to, like as I told you, diabetes has become so common nowadays, right? So insulin pumps are available to maintain to maintain the blood sugar, and even to remove any kind of like to maintain the blood sugar, and um, make sure that there's no negative implications of it. And then global health preparedness. So specifically WHO, like after this corona pandemic, like they have realized, and even like several government and non-government organization companies, we all have realized that there is a need of development of vaccines, development of medications. That is, we have to be prepared in future if such kind of epidemic, any kind of pandemic happens, any outbreaks happens, then definitely we need to prepare for that from today, right? So there has to be we need people who can volunteer in the studies. We need the people who can assist in clinical research studies, who can perform clinical research studies, right? So anyone can draft the adverse drug report, adverse event reporting, adverse drug reaction reporting, who have the knowledge of regulatory knowledge. So there is a need of such people. And definitely clinical research fuels development of innovative medical technologies. CRISPR-Cas9, I'm sure you all have heard of. Pharmaceuticals, many pharmaceutical new drugs are developed. And treatment modalities like immunotherapy that we are using for cancer, right? And talking about the scope, so definitely there is a lot of scope in this field. If I just show you, like if you see it on your screen, if we talk about global clinical trial research market, because I told you every drug, every medication has to undergo, it has to be tested in volunteers who took part in clinical research studies. So you can see here that it is valued at USD 52.92 billion in 2024, and it is expected to reach 120 billion by 2037. Right, so it is registering like approximately 6.5% of CAGR during the forecast period of 2025 to 2037, and there is no there is an increase because of increase in cancer, increase in heart problems, in also, so you can see it has a scope in cardiology, oncology, dermatology, ophthalmology, autoimmune diseases. So because of the higher prevalence of chronic diseases and incidence of the disease that I mentioned a few minutes back, so definitely this market is definitely going to increase. And it's not only in North America. Like if you see, these are the major centers: Europe, Asia Pacific, Middle East and Africa, Latin America, and North America. And also, I would like to tell you who are the key players in the market. So these are the companies who are majorly being involved in clinical research related to they are doing work, either development of the product, development of medicine, development of drug, development of any diagnostic tool or technique or technology. So they are the key players in the market, where we have IQVIA, we have Parexel, we have Pfizer, we have Novo Nordisk, we have Merck, AstraZeneca, and many more. And specifically, if I talk about companies in India, so there are 5 major cities which are the home for CROs and for top tier hospitals. And on your screen, you can see like we have Biocon in Bengaluru, Syngene International, Jubilant Biosys, Mylan Laboratory, AstraZeneca Pharma, India. In Mumbai, we have Cipla, Lupin Limited, our pharmaceutical industry, Glenmark Pharmaceuticals. Also, we have Pfizer. Then in Hyderabad, we have Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Bharat Biotech, Aurobindo Pharma, Biologically Limited, Arabian Life Sciences. So you can, like in Delhi, we have IQVIA, we have Panacea Biotech, right? Jubilant Life Sciences. Chennai, we have Orchid Pharma. Icon. So if you say that there are no companies, no scope in India, so it's completely wrong. You can see that there are many companies in India who are actually working in the field, who are associated with the clinical research field. And not only companies, even we have research institutes in India who are actually being where the clinical research work related to clinical research, the work is going on. So in Bangalore, we have ISC, we have NCBS, we have SJRI, we have JNSCASR. We have Center for Cellular and Molecular Platform. Then in Hyderabad, we have Centers for DNA Printing and Diagnostics. We have Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, NIPR, ILS, and also we have Indian Institute of Chemical Technology. Then in Mumbai, we have Tata Memorial Center, Advanced Center for Treatment, Research and Education Cancer, NIRRH. We also have many more institutes, IIT Bombay, ICT, and more. And then in Chennai, we have like Center for Biotechnology, Anna University. We have NIE, we have Cancer Institute, we have Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine. And in Delhi, we have AIMS, we have IGIB, we have ICMR, we have NII, and even we have Institute of Genomics and Integrated Biology. So this is just like I have mentioned some important ones here. And not only these five major cities, like even we have upcoming, like many more cities are upcoming with the CROs and the top tier hospitals. Like we have Vadodara, we have Ahmedabad, we have Bhopal, and many more cities are there. But you can say these are the major hubs or home for the CROs and top tier hospitals. Talking about the key employment areas, so if you are interested in this clinical research field, you can join any of the pharmaceutical biotech companies, contract research organizations, hospitals, and healthcare institutions. Government health agencies are there, which also helps in regulating the clinical research, right? Companies, they are involved in directly developing the medications and the drugs. Contract research organizations, they play a very important role in regulating the clinical research studies, right? And the hospitals and healthcare institutions where actually the clinical trials do take place. So like we have Apollo, we have AIMS, many top tier hospitals are there. And even like herbal and Ayurvedic medicine companies, which compare the traditional medicine with the new ones and the new developments. So if you want to make a career in this field, it's not that you need something extraordinary qualification. You just need to have a background of biology or life sciences. So in, like if you talk from 12th standard, you should have biology. Then if you talk about graduation level, so you should have B.Sc in life sciences or clinical research. So this is for just the entry level jobs qualification needed. But if you want mid-level jobs, then for that M.Sc in clinical research or diploma in clinical research, even if you have a MBBS degree or your or MD, then also you can associate with clinical research field. And for high-level jobs, you definitely need to have a PhD. And even like you can upgrade your skills. Like if you have already done post-graduation, if you have already done a PhD, and like you want to make a career in this field and you want to learn the skills related to clinical research, you can definitely go for some internship, certification courses, and hands-on experience. Now, so about this career path, the details will be taken care by Dr. Hitesh, so I will not go in detail. So in session 3, you will be knowing in detail about the career opportunities and career paths. So in the end, the takeaway message is that clinical research, yes, it's a dynamic and rewarding field with endless opportunities. So whether you are passionate about drug development, patient care, or scientific innovation, there is a place for you in this industry. So start your journey today, keep learning, and take first step towards fulfilling career in clinical research. I can see some questions are in the chat. I will take them in the end in the Q&A session. So this is all from my side. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Now I request Ms. Snigdha ma'am to, I invite Snigdha ma'am. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanushri ma'am. As the fundamental of clinical research is very well explained by ma'am, I want to take forward and tell you about what future holds in clinical research. So I'll just quickly share my slide. Okay. So I'll start with what the future holds for clinical research. The trends, interdisciplinarity, and global reach. So, what are the trends? What are the changing trends? What are the interdisciplinarity that is involved in the clinical research, and what are the global reach? What is happening across the country, across borders that is happening today? So the trends has been really changing, because there was a time when things were things would work in solitary, but in clinical research it's not the case now. It needs the collaboration. It is decentralized. It is it is globalized, and it is more digitalized now. Things there was a time when patient questionnaires were made on pen and paper, and the patient's data were collected and then analyzed. But now, as the decentralization, globalization has taken over, the trends have has shifted. So now what we do is, about the decentralization, what we do is, things are now onto more to the databases. More patients is enrolled to the global levels. So I'll talk about what are the trends, how is that shifted, what is the interdisciplinarity. Interdisciplinarity means there's a lot of subjects that is involved in the clinical research. Say for example, when a drug is made, so starting from a drug that is made to all the phases of the drug testing, the dynamics, the kinetics, and everything for the drug testing, and finally it reaches to the patient. So all these things require the interdisciplinarity. You need the biostatistics also, you need the bioinformatics also, you need computational studies, you need wet lab studies, and everything. So it is interdisciplinary. Also the global reach, at the end we'll talk about the global reach, how things are across the borders, and how things are trending and standardized on the basis of different acts, different FDA, and there are a lot of ICH GCP guidelines, and acts which really acts to the global reach of the clinical trial. So, as we move ahead, I want to start with the opening thought. The future of clinical research lies in collaboration, innovation, and precision. So, with the collaboration, what I mean with the collaboration is collaborating on the different levels. Say, for example, collaborating when a drug is made. So, collaborating starting from the wet lab to the drug manufacturing, to the phases of trials, and the analysis, the patient trials, the patient database collection, the global standards, the regulations, and everything. So this is the collaboration that we need in clinical research. Innovation, of course. Research without innovation is impossible. The word research lies in the innovation, what you read, what you've understood, what you learned, and then you will apply all that to what to innovate. What things will go towards the innovation. And at the end we'll talk about the precision. Now is the time, now things and medications is more precise, it is exact, it is to the genomic levels. Today the clinical research is more about the genomics of the study of any of the drugs. Say for example, in the oncological clinical trial, the biomarker based study is being done. It's the HER2 in the breast cancer oncological drug, and based on the HER2 biomarker, we developed recently a drug. The so so it is precise, it is exact of what it has to be done. The oncological studies and the breast cancer study, so it is very precise and exact. There was a time that one drug will work along for all the trials, but now it's not the case. It needs to be precise, it needs to be genomical studies, and many of the clinical trials also have evolved. What has been done is, first the clinical genetics of the of the disease is checked, the genomic and the genetic level and the biomarker level testing is done, and then the clinical trial starts. Why? Because it needs to be precise and exact. So we'll talk about the emerging trends. What was there in the past, and now what are the emerging trends? So as the emerging trends, we see the digital clinical trials. Things has really changed towards digitalization. Uh, the patient collection, the patient collection and the analysis cannot be on the pen and paper, because what it is very important is we need we need to consider the patients on a global level. We cannot take a small sample size, we need a big sample size. We need, we need to be precise, we need to be decentralized. So digital clinical trial has emerged, in which we'll see the remote monitoring as it is not important to to be present there. Remote monitoring is from anywhere, it is remote. Now the databases, now the patient collection and everything is on the databases, the SQL and the non-SQL, all those technical databases. So and the virtual visits again, it's all virtually, it's all decentralized. What the word decentralized means is, from any center, it is not centralized, it is not like this only, only from one center, it is from anywhere. Again, the faster and scalable recruitment. more faster things will happen, because it is globalized, it is on the global level across the borders, and a global faster and scalable recruitment will be done. Moving towards decentralized trials, patient convenience, of course, because anywhere the patient's sitting, and we are collecting the data and analyzing. Geographical diversity, no bars, geographical diversity. It is decentralized, anywhere patients are sitting, we can start the clinical trial. AI and big data, which is emerging as in every field. So AI and big data has to do a lot with clinical research, because see, in AI, what is to be done with AI and ML is predictive modeling first. So predictive modeling is how we can predict a disease based on the algorithms that is already happening. Say for example, in a pediatric nephrotic syndrome, there's a disease called as nephrotic syndrome, which happens in children. So we call it as pediatric nephrotic syndrome. So in that, when is relapse happening, when is remission happening? So relapses when protein increases in pediatric nephrotic syndrome, that is called as relapse. So when is relapse happening? So this is the predictive modeling. So say for example, we have given a drug for 6 months. So giving a drug to 6 months to a patient, what it does, when is the remission happening, when is the relapse happening? So this is the prediction. We've made an algorithm. So this is the predictive modeling, and how it will be done through AI, ML, and all the algorithms, big data analysis through smarter patient matching. Now, because smarter patient matching, as in we give UHIDs to the patient, because we fill into the databases. So UHID for the particular patient, so that no patient we do not, it has to be very small error, so that error we can reduce errors, we can reduce the anomalies in data. The anomalous data will not work, because say for example, in a database, when you're taking the patients and anomalies happen on the pen and paper, that that there was a time when the questionnaires were made on the pen and paper. So much anomalies can happen, the patient has filled or not filled, or wrongly filled. How it will be analyzed? It will be very difficult for the algorithms to work on. So smarter patient matching has emerged, but the UHIDs are given, the databases are given, and that is the uh, digital digital way of clinical trial. And now is the time of digital way of clinical trial. And risk based monitoring again, for a patient, what are the remissions, what are the relapses? If the patient is patient care is very important. So if the patient care is done, the amount of dosage to the patient, where the patient is fine or not showing up, all those we determine. And AI, ML, and big data allows us to do that very efficiently and in very less time. So now again, a rise of clinical data science. When we see the rise of clinical data science, we majorly see all these important things: integrating bioinformatics, biostatics, and machine learning. The bioinformatics algorithm, the biostatics, because why biostatistics is important? The data will come, you will put these statistics, and you will analyze what is there. What is the data saying? And machine learning, of course, because there's an algorithm, and then you'll put the algorithm, and then machine learning will tell you the again the remission of the disease, the relapse of the disease, and anything like that. The data interpretation at scale. Now the data interpretation, rise of the clinical science, tell us how the data is interpreted, how well how precisely and how well it is doing, because we need the precise and exact and genomic level interpretation. Ensuring data quality and regulatory readiness. From the regulatory readiness, what I mean is that the regulation should be solid. There are a lot of acts, lot of these agencies, there are a lot of uh, uh, yes, I mean agencies and acts that is there to define that there should be a regulatory process. Because why? Because the patient should be secure, the patient should be at the utmost important. So there has to be a regulation, there has to be a regulation for everything. Whether the patient is fine, this much of dosage should be given, the e-consent forms has been signed, that yes, the patient has a consent that we can do the clinical trials on them. So all that ensured, and the data quality is ensured, and regulatory readiness is ensured, that those datas and everything has to be encrypted. You cannot just leak the data of any of the patients. This is not how it is done. So it has to be encrypted. So all of those come in the regulatory readiness. And now we'll move to the interdisciplinary collaborations. How the interdisciplinary, different kind of collaborations work in clinical trial. So integration of genomics, bioinformatics, and pharmacology to enable precise medicine. Pharmacology, starting from the pharma thing, like how, like what is the dynamics, what are the kinetics, what will be the precision of the drugs and everything, goes into the phases, different phases that that will come later in the discussion. And then genomics, bioinformatics, genomic studies, because why? Again, because there has to be a precise, there has to be an exact uh, medication for each and every diseases. And bioinformatics studies are so important. Bioinformatics studies will will let you know about uh, uh, the trends, the trends, the interactions. And say for example, if a disease has a protein, then what is the interaction that is doing, that is it is doing inside the inside in vivo or in silico or in vitro processes, any of them when you select it. So all those is very important, and all the collaboration will lead to the clinical research. Use of data science and biostatistics. Of course, data science and biostatistics at the end, when you get a lot of big data for the patients, then data science comes into play. Data science and biostatistics, that both will tell you what is the result, how it has to be interpreted, and everything. For advanced trial modeling and real-time analytics. Ethical oversight, working with AI researchers to ensure responsible use of algorithms in trial. Very important, responsible use of algorithms in trial. It is very important that we should standardize we should standardize of everything, of the data, from where the data is coming, what is encrypted, what is not encrypted, what has to go into the algorithm in the trials that we use. And all of that is been taken care, and AI researchers and all will take care of that. That it should be very responsible use of algorithm. It should not be that any of the ensure this is not happening. Matlab, it should not be error. There should not be any error. Uh, so that is science communicators working with investigators to translate findings for public trust and transparency. So science communicators working with investigators. So there are a lot of investigators as in the main person who is responsible for the whole clinical trial. Under the investigator, all the clinical trial happens. So all these people, there are a lot of other, with the investigators, there are a lot of other people that are involved. And and I am here referring all of them as a science communicators. So all of them will translate the findings of the public trust and transparency. Once the result is there, once the patient data is there, it's their responsibility to now feed into the public trust, or any of the like clinical trials dot gov. There are different sites where they collaborate, and then they make it to the public and everything. So it's their responsibility to see whether to, like, how to make it to the public and everything. So defining everything, clinical research is the collaboration of life sciences, data sciences, ethics, and communication. This is the summary. And now we get to the personalized and precision medicine. Again, whatever clinical trials and whatever things we are doing should be precise. Say for example, any of the oncological drug, any of the cancerous drug, now the biomarker studies is taking place. So based on the tailoring treatments to genetic profiles, we'll do the genetic profiling, and then we'll the all the patients will do the genetic profiling for all the patients, then recruit them, and then do the analysis. So, for the biomarker driven studies, say for example, that I told, HER2 is a biomarker for breast cancer, and Hercumen is a new drug that has come for the oncological study. So, because it is biomarker driven studies is taking place. So, increased trial for rare diseases. There are so many rare diseases, even nephrotic syndrome in children, which is a pediatric nephrotic syndrome, is a rare disease. You'll not get a lot of patients for it, especially in India and in the Asian countries. So increased trials for it. So it has, precision medicine has increased trials and increased a lot of success. Why? Because it is globalized. You're not doing the questionnaires on a pen and paper. You're not just sticking to a small sample size. Now is the now is the time where you decentralize and globalize. So the trials for rare diseases has also increased because of all these upcoming digitalization. We'll talk about the evidence-based medicine now. The evidence-based medicine is the using the best current evidence to guide decisions. What all is present until now, like what all protocols, what all drugs and everything that is present in the literature review for now, that all we use for the prediction of uh, role of systematic reviews and meta-analysis. We all do the meta-analysis of all the literature that is there, and then we do the evidence-based medicine based on that, using best current evidence to guide decisions. Now, the current evidence that is already there, as in the help of books or precision, the literature review, using the best amount of it. Role of systematic reviews and meta-analysis, again, the literature review and the review of the literature in a very detailed manner, that we all do for the evidence-based medicine. The things that are already present is read properly, and then using that in the upcoming in the upcoming drug based studies is the evidence based medicine. Integrating patient values into care, again, patient values is very important. All that needs to be taken care. The care is that the certainty of drugs and everything needs to be taken care at every step. It is very important. Now, talking about the global reach, multi-country, we are into the multi-country collaborations. There are the collaborations for Asia, for Africa, and different. The pan global collaboration is taking place, because we do not want to just stress on a sample, on a very small size sample. We need to just across borders for the digitalized thing. Equity in trial access, it is very important that the trial access should have an equity. Means, when we are doing a trial, say for example 4 patients are there, and all the 4 patients belong to different levels, different races, and some are Asian, some are belongs to the different part of the world, like Americans. And so, but it has to be equity. It has the trial, the phases, the e-consent, and each of the phases should be equally important for each of the person. It should not be it should not depend on race, it should not depend on color, it should not depend on the geography. It should be equity. And at the end, standardization of ethics and data handling. The ethics and data handling should be standardized with the help of different agencies. Again, there are different guidelines which you may have heard about, ICH, GCP guidelines. So all that is very important, and all that has to be there whenever the phases of the things we are doing, or when the patient collection is there, or when the analysis is there. The standardization is very important, of course, because this is science, is ethics. Research has to be ethical. Now, clinical research, what are I'll talk about the challenges and the change. So the challenges that we face in the clinical research is the data privacy and cybersecurity. As it is globalization is taking place, as the databases are being made for the patient centric approaches, privacy is a very important factor. We need to it is very important for everything to be encrypted, everything to be preserved, because the patient data is so important. So it needs a privacy, it needs a cyber security. Regulatory adaptations is very important. At all the levels, regulatory adaptations need to be adapted, based on all the acts and agencies and everything. All the protocols is available, and it has to be regulatory adaptations. It has to be in equity. Talent gap in data plus ethics plus tech. So whatever talent gap in data, like, because clinical research is so collaborative, it needs pharma also, it needs bioinformatics also, it needs wet lab also. So whatever gaps in data, whatever ethics that is need to be followed, that are the protocols. And what are the because the databases that we need, maybe the telemedicine approaches that we need, because for the analysis we need ML, AI, different algorithms. So, combining everything, it is very important to to take the care of the patient care and privacy. So that are the challenges and the change that we are moving forward with the clinical research. At the end, I will like to talk about the future of clinical research. It has diverse careers, diverse as in it has so many things to serve, so many collaborations at every level that I talked about. Global collaboration exposure, it is global now. It is again digitalized. And fast growing industry, it is a very fast growing industry. Tanushram has already told that it is growing with such a fast pace, the percentage is so high. Work on innovative therapies. There are a lot of innovative therapies. There are so many rare diseases, genetic diseases, biomarker driven diseases that we will work on, based on clinical research. With the final thoughts, I would like to say that clinical research is entering a new era. It is entering a global era. Future depends on innovation, trust, and teamwork. Of course, it needs teamwork. It's a research. It needs innovation. It needs trust. You are a part of shaping this future. So whoever is interested in, in the clinical research, or like discussing more about, whoever is interested in the discussion of, more about deeply, that what, what is actually clinical research, how was it done, now digitalizing it, how we use in hand practical, approaches of the databases, how the patients collected and everything, uh, can join further, can join the further lectures. And thank you. So I would like to now hand over the presentation to Hitesh sir, and I request him to tell us more about the clinical research.
Thank you, Snigdha, and thank you, Dr. Tanushree. I think you have beautifully set the context here. Uh, of course, now participants here would be definitely looking forward to understand what exactly they need to do once about this industry, about this domain, and being in this industry since last 18 years, I am privileged to put across what I have done and so many new things which are available now, which the team can look into. All right. So, as we have already seen, there was a beautiful slide on the infographic talking about the clinical research industry, how this industry is shaping up, and what all we can do, and how you all can contribute, and of course, make your career in this domain. Looking at the global industry, the global projected, CAGR as 8% till 2030, we can see that 2.22 billion USD would be the market cap in clinical trials, clinical research, and various other domains also contribute in, which I'll be taking up in my slide. Uh, why India? In India, because the overall expenses brings down to 40 to 70% when clinical trials are done in India, and there are global trials which we do along with US, EU, China, Japan, and India is one of the country to look forward to, considering what we heard right now on the different geographical landscape, the kind of diverse population we have, and of course, the interdisciplinary research and data which can come for any given molecule in different therapeutic areas. That is what India can provide, and of course, it becomes attractive destination for global pharmaceutical companies. We have multiple companies who have their base in India, and they are doing all good. And of course, research is also looking. They look forward for research and development in India as well. Regulatory reforms with the current changes which are happening since 2013 in the Indian regulatory landscape. We have seen a paradigm shift. The robust system from the CDSCO and DCGI have laid down a beautiful regulation which are very stringent, and all the stakeholders who are participating have to follow, adhere, and comply to it, because it's all regarding the safety well-being of the patient here, which is under the treatment. And that by default also gives us a niche where the regulatory hurdles are not there. The speed is where, and efficiency of providing the approvals of conducting this research is very faster, and it's become digital as well. Now, employment opportunities, everyone is interested to hear this out. So, the virtual clinical trial segment is also coming up, and it's booming it like anything. So, a lot of scope coming in terms of advancements in telemedicine, digital health technologies, and upcoming AI and ML, kind of discoveries which are supporting the research further. which we just heard. So of course we have a lot of opportunities in this segment. Regulatory harmonization, as I just mentioned, that we are at par with the international standard, and there are a lot of grants and WHO clinical funded trials are also happening. So in that ways, we are competing with the global market. And of course, skill development. India is, like, no kind of treated as a unskilled or a labor only kind of a country. It is a skilled professionals, and we can see like multiple people are moving in global roles and taking up leadership roles in this segment. Of course, we need to have to hone the skills and develop on an ongoing basis. So this will encompass your roles into data management, regulatory affairs, clinical operations, and multiple other things which I'll share further. Now, as I mentioned about skills, so you need to acquire certain skills, and you need to develop also, because learning is an lifelong process. And though I have spent so many years, I do learn on every day in with complex, studies come up, interaction with different stakeholders brings a lot of excitement and challenging situations which you need to learn and keep learning. So what we look forward, so technical, of course, we heard about ICA GCP. So GCP stands for good clinical practice. So the ICA GCP E6 guidelines talks about clinical research. You can it's freely available on internet. You can download, you can have and read. There are 13 rules and regulations and guidances which you need to follow. And any company, organization, wherever you go, they will definitely ask about do you know GCP guidelines, and you need to refer to these trial phases. We just had a good presentation on what type of trial phases are. Ethics are very much important, and of course the global regulatory standards where FDA, EMEA, and DCGI stands. So we have new drug clinical trial rules 2019 and 2022, which is set for India. And then of course FDA keep releasing certain guidances and amendments. You can refer to that on their website, and European Union as well has their own set of regulatory modules and rules which they need to follow. And any person if who is willing to start the career should definitely refer to these guidances and guidelines. As I said, that it is essential for ensuring the compliance, patient safety, and data integrity. Whenever a clinical trial in India or global, whenever it has to be presented, it has to be standardized, data has to be compliant, safety has to be checked, and integrity has to be there. And hence these standards really means a lot when it comes to presenting the data and approving the data for any given drug or any NC. Soft skills, of course, you need when you are interacting with different kind of intellectual people within the industry, be it from the medical affairs team, be it from the marketing team, be it from the doctors or hospitals. When you interact, you need to have that communication power when you are dealing with sites. Here refers to hospital. So site staff, investigators are nothing but healthcare professionals, medical doctors in different therapeutic areas. Sponsors are like the organizations or company which funds and does clinical research, where either you would be working in or you would be partnering with. And then cross-functional leads. So there are multiple cross-functional leads when it comes to daily interaction. So you need to hone your communication skills, and of course interpersonal skills. So you need to know how to write and communicate with the cross-functional team. So it has to be more clarity. It has to have clarity. It has to be scientific, because you're dealing medical and science here. And it has to be in a certain format and language. When you have to put certain documentation, maybe to regulatory affairs or maybe to ethics committee or doctors, and it is to be very crisp and precise, and you need to have that proactiveness. So you can definitely refer to multiple modules which are available online on internet, and hone your skills with that. And of course you will have your on the jobs when you join any kind of organizations, and they will also have their internal training modules to upgrade, before giving you any kind of studies and work. Soft skills, again, second, third point here. So attention to detail. Of course, it's very, very critical that none of the data, any kind of mishaps should not happen. The patient life, human life is at risk, and you should be very clear when it comes to managing data, entering data, and dealing with data. So your accuracy and ability to catch errors, inconsistencies, discrepancies should be there. Of course, ICGCP lays down non-conformities and how these can be tackled. But then when you have to grow in this field, you should be sure that you have a high level of intelligence and logic applied when you are dealing with the data and representing the data. And then of course time and project management. As you grow in your career, right from the junior level research associate to project manager, and then maybe as a director or project lead, you should know how to efficiently deal your time, because with your higher ups, you will have more responsibilities, and more responsibilities means that you need to have that kind of accuracy when you are managing it, and you will be pulled into multiple things. It's not a simple 9 to 5 kind of a job or desk job. You will be involved into multiple things, and you will be always on your toes when you grow in the operations or various other segments within the clinical research domain. Now with this, what you need to require, what you need to acquire and develop when you start your work, these are the career pathways which you can look at. So who all are welcomed in this field? Medical, paramedical field people, so MBBS, BDS, MDs, they are all welcome in this. Paramedical will also cover all the paramedical courses and deals to that. Pharmacy, of course, your farm Ds. Now we are looking at a lot of farm Ds coming in and growing fast. And then M Pharma, B Pharma, of course, they are there since last many years, including me. Life sciences and statisticians. We just heard about how important the role of statistician is in this domain. So post graduation, graduation, all are included. In technical, because now a lot of digitization is happening, so software developers, programmers, all are welcomed in this industry, and they have their own niche to be and grow in this industry. Now basic institutes who offer or provide and support clinical research. So we of course have NIPER, then Jamia Hamdard, Manipal Academic of Higher Education, and these all, they provide some degree and direct courses within the clinical research domain. And then you have your certification and other courses M.Sc in clinical research, which are provided by multiple autonomous and deemed universities within India and also online, which we've already seen in few of the slides before. And yeah, these are certain in autonomous institutes which provide your PG diploma in clinical research and regulatory affairs. So you have Catalyst, you have BioExcel, you have IC Bio, you have Avigna, and we have recently seen on Biotecnika also coming up with certain short-term 6 months, 3 months kind of courses. So you can definitely approach them. And then these are the major institutes or sites, or how we call it, within the clinical research stream. So you have AIMS, a lot of patients, a lot of doctors, high-end a hospital to have any clinical studies done, and they have their own internal investigator initiated studies as well. Tata, of course, not behind. Tata also has its own niche in the oncology space. RCC, these are regional cancer center across India. So of course they also have their niche. Then you have semi-government or trust-based hospitals like St. John's and Kidwai Hospital, where they are medical sciences colleges. Also, they are having clinical research done. Then CMC, Vellore, Max Group of hospitals in and around North India and Western India. HCG Group of hospitals, Wockhardt, Apollo Group, Fortis Group, and Narayana hospitals across India. These all, and these are the top notch which I'm mentioning, but you have tier 2, tier 3 cities as well, where all are getting equipped. There are joining hands with CRO group, which I mentioned here, and pharma companies. They are developing these clinics, sites to be precise, and bringing them up for doing clinical research. Pharma companies, of course, everyone would be very much readily looking forward to, like, taking it up. So we have Pfizer, highly invested in clinical research, Johnson and Johnson and Janssen in clinical research, Biocon, GSK, AstraZeneca, Dr. Reddy's, Cipla, Lupin, Sun Pharma, Novo Nordisk, and multiple others which were mentioned by Dr. Tanushree in her slide. And then CROs, these are the top few CROs, like, you can look forward to: IQVIA, Syneos, Fortria, Thermo Fisher, Novotech, Parexel, Icon, Biorasi. Advera and SMO India are site management groups. So if you are interested to take up a specific role as a research coordinator or site manager, then these are site management group which are actively, like, taking up the research at the site level, and they collaborate with pharma companies to ease out the initial process of onboarding a site. So and that career is also good. Now, when you understand the career pathways, what we look at is job roles. Now, what are the different job roles? I'm highlighting here the specific 8. Of course, there are multiple others, and which will come across at junior, mid, and senior level, which I'll walk through. So these are basically functions within the clinical research. So I'll start from clinical research associate. So this is part of a clinical operation. Research associate is someone who knows IC, GCP, and regulatory guidances, who can do site monitoring. So it is basically hospital level data check. So any clinical study, when it's started, it has to undergo patient recruitment. Once patient comes in, then there are certain set of data which has to be collected, and CRA is the one who will go and monitor the data. So data is accurate or not accurate, patient are there or not there, any kind of non-conformance, adherence is there or not there. So it's like, how you have a CA auditing a financial firm. It is something similar, where you need to monitor what a site is doing, hospital is doing. They're doing it in a right way, or how they're, like, are not doing, and you need to guide them, train them, and of course check the data, it is coming in an accurate format or not. And protocol and data compliance. So any given study has a protocol. It's a scientific document. It lists down various type of procedures, what all will be done, at what interval it will be done, what kind of drug will be provided. So this has to be, like, kind of by heart to the CRA. Then comes clinical research coordinator. So these are the individuals who are at the site level, hospital level, and they help the doctor to like, kind of do the EC submissions, follow the protocol, get the patient recruitment done, and adhere to the requirements of the protocol, and do the patient recruitment, and, like, manage the investigator, and multiple things. So it is administrative, technical, and, like, on the go. So CRC is someone who will, like, fix up the appointment, look into the various kind of diagnostics which are there, follow the schedule of assessment of the protocol, coordinate with the CRA, look at the site monitoring visits, look into the documentation, and coordinate with the ethics committee and all that stuff. So that is done by the CRC. Then we have clinical data management. So data management is important part. So any protocol will have a required kind of data sets through which the endpoints and objectives are decided, and that compliance has to be there. So the data management members will definitely look into that. So data management will be, like, moreover electronic now. Initially in my days it was more paper based, but now it is more everything electronic. So the CRC will enter the data in the tool, the data management tool, and the monitor will monitor this data through the tool and put up the queries, and CRC will have to, like, do the query management and clean the data if there is any discrepancies. So there is validation process, there is programming required. So this is a mix of a role. So if you are from the software kind of a background, and life sciences is something exciting, then you can get into data management, look into the programming check, logical check, system check. So IT support is of course required in in managing data management tools. So this will be a wonderful thing for the IT professions to get in. And of course science and life sciences persons can also get into this role. It requires a lot of effort in terms of understanding the data from the protocol, and then raising queries and working through the system. So very critical role. And you can start as a basic clinical data analyst and grow as a kind of a data management lead or a director for data management, and then take it up to a very high level. Biostatistician, of course, right now a lot of crisis seen for biostatistician. We can a lot of data coming in with the real world evidence and real world data, big data kind of analysis happening, apart from clinical trial. A separate domain which is set up in real world evidence. I'll take you through that as well. And statisticians are very very difficult to find who have good experience. So different kind of proficiency is required. So we need SAS, we need R models, ANOVA method, a lot of insights in terms of doing analysis. And this is also very exciting role, which keeps you on the edge. Need to devise, define, design the protocol. So it starts from the protocol and then takes towards the final clinical study report and outcome which you need to submit to the regulatory. So very critical, very much critical role of a biostatistician. Now coming to medical writer. Who is medical writer? Someone who understands the medical concepts, scientific concepts, has a eye towards different therapeutic areas, and writes in a scientific way. So someone who has a knack of understanding this. So especially this is taken up by the medicos, and nowadays with what I see is from the pharm Ds, who are better at putting up the protocol. So it is the protocol, informed consent form, case report form, then your clinical study report, then the statistical inputs and providing the narrative to this. Also, in the pharmacovigilance and safety, a lot of medical writing happens when you have to prepare your COMs and SUSAR reports and all. So exciting field again, but yeah, I mean, requires a scientific edge when you have to put the concepts in the report, and you need to write the narratives and protocols and other documents. Regulatory affairs, a very important role. You need to have a liaising, communication should be very high. You need to know how to liaise. More of a intellectual marketing person who can understand the requirement of any organization, CRO, and deal with the regulatory bodies, the government level. So should know about how the submissions are done, how a dossier has to be prepared, was what all kind of documents goes in the dossier, when is the approval time period, and when is the submission time period. So a lot of interaction and association, a lot of cross functional activities which a regulatory affairs personnel would have within this field. And then I'll take up pharmacovigilance here. So pharmacovigilance is nothing but uh, understanding various kind of adverse drug reactions, serious adverse event reaction, reporting, how to write a report, how to follow it with the medical directory, what is a standardized way of reporting it. So again, a exciting field. Always they'll work with the CRA and the site and the data management. So a lot of multifunctional interactions will be there. And of course there are multiple timelines. So once if any kind of serious adverse events are reported in a given study, they have to be reported within 24 hours. So the PV personnel or a safety lead would definitely start working on how the report is, what all goes in the report, how we need to define things, and then take it up to the medical team, understand if it is related to the drug, not related to the drug, and how the causality assessment will be done. So multiple things will come under pharmacovigilance. And last but not the least, so project manager. So project manager is someone who has to lead from the start, and also should be ready to take up any kind of role within this format. So who is like, the jack of all and also master of one. So one study might have one project manager, or maybe 3 4 project managers, and global studies will have maybe around 30 40 project managers, based on the size and, like, therapeutic area which we are dealing with. So someone who looks into the budget, so finances should be strong, vendor management should be strong, hospital relationships should be strong, can manage a team. So a lot of colleagues would be there within the team, junior level, mid level, manage everyone, and take the study front. So it'll be steering the study, ensuring that the budget, the timeline, and the milestones are achieved. And of course, leadership quality should come up. So that's what I said, that all these roles, you will start as a grassroots level, and then slowly steadily you will acquire the skills, and then of course you'll have to deliver it, and you become a project manager. So cross functional coordination, problem solving attitude, always be up. And I'll tell you, these are not 9 to 5 jobs, these are like, all time available jobs. But very exciting and challenging when you are, like, dealing it, because something new, something research is happening, and you are involved in that research, which will see the light of the day, and all patients would be taking that up. So it's something very very exciting when you, like, do any kind of when you're part of this clinical research industry, and we are working on a, like, new molecules, phase 2 studies, phase 3 studies. Very exciting and challenging, and of course you have to be responsible, and you are liable and accountable also at same time. So, well, I have defined this specific key job roles within the domain. I have highlighted the most 8, like, the efficient 8 I have defined here, but it doesn't end there. And these are various entry level part. So what you do in 0 to 2 years. So CTC, so that is clinical trial coordinator or clinical research coordinator, will look into site level activities, documentation, patient interaction, and setting up the appointment and taking it up as per the protocol. CRA will do the monitoring and documentation and supervision part. If it is on a junior level for a pharmacovigilance, then the person will start understanding what are reports, what is a data entry done, what are the basic checks which are required, and slowly and steadily you can go into the next role. And data associate will also, like, look into the data entry with the CRC, doing it in a proper way, validating it against the protocol if it is right or wrong, and definitely, like, taking it up at the next level and reporting it. Now mid level, so once you have completed 2 years and 5 years, what you can do? So CRA will become independent, will become a lead CRA, or senior CRA, and will ensure that the compliance and things are managed. The project manager will be completely dependent on the CRA, because CRA will not manage 1 or 2 sites, they can manage 5 6 sites or 7 sites, and will be constantly traveling to different hospitals, preparing report, and, like, will be available at any given point of time to the doctor. Data manager, so whatever a associate is doing, have to ensure that a manager keeps an eye of it. The data is integrity is maintained, nothing is leaked, nothing is being, like, changed, and that intentions are right when you are doing these activities. Medical writer, I already mentioned that these are more of a niche role. So you need to have a knack of understanding the scientific and the medical part of it, and, like, you can do these kind of documentation generation and writing. And of course, regulatory affairs will prepare and track submissions, communicate with the regulatory bodies, and will be always available for setting up the appointments and getting the approval for given study, import licenses, and managing multiple other activities within the regulatory commitment and framework. Senior level, so when you grow from junior to mid level, senior level, so with great power, you will also have great responsibilities. You will manage a team. You should be a some leader. People will look up to you for guidance, for problem solving. So all these domains, like will require a lot of um, uh, uh, experience and patience together. And you have to be very very accurate when you're dealing with multiple stakeholders, be it doctors, vendors, site level, then it will be sponsors. So so with every role your outlook changes. So managing the end-to-end clinical trial process, budgeting and all, which I already highlighted. And senior or lead CRA will oversee CRA, so you will have to train the junior CRAs, manage their travel, manage the data part, manage the recruitment is not that easy. Sometimes complex protocols will have complex strategies, and you will not find everyone getting into a study. So a lot of efforts goes in when face to face these studies are done, specifically in oncology, neurology, and surgery, med devices. These takes up a lot of toll on the doctors and the CRA. Medical writing, again, when you grow and do good, you need to manage multiple studies, so you need to have a team. And all these roles will have a mix of operations technical and a bit of line management. So it will also teach you how people management is done, and it will grow in your leadership by influence kind of a skill set, so that you will acquire slowly steadily. It is nothing you bring to the table, but you will acquire once you keep working in the framework. And then pharmacovigilance and this managerial role. So you will have to be up for multiple studies, and they look into overall analysis, final analysis report. So additional duties and responsibilities come in when you are at a senior level. And it doesn't end at these designations, but of course you become a director, you become a global manager, you become a kind of a head. So but it takes time. So it takes time. When you are reaching 10 years, then it depends what all studies you had opportunity to work in, what all team members you have worked in, what all therapeutic areas you have managed. And that is how the next steps would be assigned. And all these organizations have their own learning mechanism, and which will be given to you. So learning and kind of that always remains. It's a constant throughout your life within clinical research space, and I think any domain, to be precise. So here we have so certifications and all, which will kind of support and provide a weightage when you go for an entry level job. So it will give you an edge over the others, and a lot of people are looking into it right now. I mean, my days we did not have online courses, but now a lot of online courses are there, and these are certain international accreditations. So this can help you get a setup in the process in managing India specific studies. And then with these certifications, you can take up some off-site roles or on-site roles in Asia Pacific region, or in Europe region, or maybe US. So how open and welcoming these countries or your organization where you're working in is. And of course these are short-term courses which you can look up to. So as I mentioned in my previous slide, and highlighted by Dr. Tanushri, so there are multiple forums through which you can hone your skills and take up certain courses. A lot of things are now available on Coursera. Biotecnika is also working on certain modules. So of course you can constantly keep checking, and at regular intervals when you get into a job, also you need to update yourself, check on the newer trends, and do that. And as I said, that internships and on the job will keep coming. Once you enter the industry, it's no looking back. A lot of good things definitely happens with the organization. Yes, and this is a slide everyone is interested in. I just said check few comments. There are few notes who wants to understand what are the entry level salary, what are the next level salary. So yeah, these are all mentioned here. This is an average taken, so don't go by the numbers at the initial level. From my experience person, I would always say that wherever you are getting, take that up, work 2 years, 3 years, hone your skills, and then you take it ahead. And of course, like you know we have seen in movies, or it's a kind of a notice, or you can pin it up on your board, that with experience, salary will come. It'll not go anywhere. So hone your skills, develop yourself, and then ask for it, and perform. Unless you don't perform, you will not be recognized. This is how the reality is. And various roles will have various responsibilities, and these are kind of and on an average, these salaries would be there. Of course, the Indian MNCs and the global companies would have a slight variation, and with these numbers there would be some benefits which are also there. And but this is an kind of a heads up or a snapshot which you can understand and take it up for your reference. And with this salary and this kind of role, we have seen multiple other emerging roles, as I have also grown in this industry. And Snigdha ma'am also highlighted that modern pharma and clinical research is evolving and emerging in respect to uh, decentralization of clinical trials and virtual trials. So a lot of different roles are coming up, which are hybrid in nature, remote in nature. You don't have to be at the site or at a office. You can work it from your comfort of home. But of course, it will not be a 9 to 5. I'm mentioning again, these are high demanding roles. So you have clinical trial monitor and virtual trial coordinator who works through digital softwares and digital portals through which you monitor and track your record, and engage stakeholders to conduct the study. Then data scientists and AI analysts. So of course, a lot of biostatisticians, or someone who has a knack of understanding the algorithms, or patterns, or data sets, who are good in Excel, who are good in understanding the logic or building the logic. These all individuals will suit in this, and these are all high demanding, and they also have a good start on the salary and package. And then digital health. So ePro is nothing but electronic patient research outcome, or clinical outcome assessments. So these are done where a patient directly enters the data, and you get the note of it, and you take it forward. And you have to monitor it. You have to be someone who designs these questionnaires or scales, and then they provide to the patient, and more of a survey, but very scientific and medical in nature. So these are specialists who work into this field. So they design this with the digital team. Then real world evidence. So in last couple of years, I have moved into real world evidence. Very exciting, challenging. A lot of data comes in at different intervals, and a lot of activities happening from the EMR. EMR is nothing but electronic medical records. So a lot of data comes in from the clinics you meet, and when we go for any kind of health checkup, lot of data is preserved, and that data is taken up for assessment, very assessment. And from post COVID, this has brought on a different level at altogether. So now we see a lot of comparisons are done with COVID vaccine, with multiple cardiac or pregnancy, or behavioral changes or mood swings. A lot of things are happening in that area. So and now that is taken up in various other parts. So rare diseases also. So these will support your regulatory submissions. So real world is there. And with wearable devices, a digital platform, smartphones, app related base. So something different or parallel is happening in this domain as well, which is linked to clinical research, because the data comes in, and assessments are done, and they are supported by the regulatory as well. And then of course once a product is marketed, then what you see into that product, because randomized clinical trials are done in a very specific group, maybe 500, 600, or maybe 800 to 1000. But when it is given in the larger population, when the drug is approved and put into the larger population, market access strategies comes in, how the drug is happening, what are the post authorization safety kind of studies are happening. So all these contributes to the real world evidence of any drug. This is how I would like to highlight. And then of course GCC. So I think people who are interested and are participating in this webinar right now, they must have heard about global capability centers. So there are around 11 global capability centers developed by multiple big pharma companies within Hyderabad and Bangalore, and they are recruiting people in all kind of domains, like freshers, mid-level, experience, and definitely to look forward to. So they are nothing but they are acting as a hub. As I said, that India, the labor is kindly accepted and acknowledged with a good pay, and they find it of course cheaper, and they find that there is a lot of intelligence and developed skilled individuals who are coming, and that is how these centers are set up, and they can run the multiple other functions through these GCC centers. So Amgen is there, Pfizer is there, then I think Noart is Bristol Myers Squibb, then Eli Lilly, AbbVie, Abbott, all these big pharma companies, you name, and they are already setting up a GCC center in and around Hyderabad and Bangalore. So and these are certain associated remuneration or compensation which you can get into these profiles. So yes, I think this is my last slide, and thank you for having the patience, and I hope this has definitely helped you in understanding what all you can you'll be looking into, and when you get into this domain and take up your career and aspire to become a clinical research professional. So yes, so Dr. Tanushri and Snigdha, I think, yeah, I mean, the forum is open for discussion, and we can take up any comments which are there or questions from the group.
Yes, definitely, sir. Thank you. First of all, thank you for your insightful session. Now, because of the time constraint, we'll take quickly 2, 3 questions. So, first question is I will be taking of Prince Gupta. So, he has asked that which is good for career, a post graduation degree or PG diploma in clinical research and pharmacovigilance? So, sir, would you like to answer this question?
So, for pharmacovigilance, if you're looking at, so if you can, of course, do a degree, a full-fledged course, if you're still into your studying, age, then definitely it will provide a, edge over the others. But in case you are working and, you are part of some, kind of, assignment, then I think PG diploma will also suffice. So if you evaluate on that basis, I would say.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope this answers your question, Prince. We have another question from Amrit Sharma. He says that I'm having 3 years of experience in a research institute. So, wants to know that whether he's eligible to apply for a CRA post and what is the salary initially in industries. Sir, again, would you like to take up this question?
Yes. So yes, of course, you can get into this role. You can apply for a CRA role. Of course, you will have to dodge certain questions because you need to manage pragmatic situations. CRA, as I said, that is someone who have to have an eye for detail, should be constantly available, have to travel, prepare report. So it's a demanding job, and yeah, you can apply for it. And salary, of course, if as I re, sorry, I understood that you have some experience and it is taken. So entry level, if you do not have any CRA specific activities done or a junior CRA activity done, then somewhere you will end up around, like, 3.5 to 5 lakh, between that range, depending on which organization you apply, and where it, it is considered, and what kind of requirement the organization has. But certainly you can apply for a junior CRA role and then slowly steadily grow into that, senior CRA and lead CRA.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope this answers your question, Amrit. We have another question from Manish Yadav, and he wants to know like whether M.Sc microbiology students are eligible for this, for the clinical research. So I think Snigdha ma'am, would you like to take up this question?
Uh, MSc microbiology, I think yes, because you read about the infectious diseases, pathogens. I think a lot of lab practices are also dealt in microbiology. So, yes, definitely. There are scientific thinking, there are data analysis, lab-based investigations. So, a lot of roles can fit. So, I think MSc microbiology is good to go in the clinical research, in a lot of levels also.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope this answers your question, Manish. Sir, it's not a question, but just a response in a chat from Ajay Anand that he find your content very informative, very important content for CRA, and he's really thankful for it. So thank you, Ajay, on behalf of sir. Thank you so much. Okay, one more question from Muskan. So, sir, this is for you. Her bachelor's degree is in plant science, and she's pursuing M.Sc biotechnology, and asking like, would companies hire her as a clinical researcher?
Well, yeah. So I understand the conflict here. See, I mean, in given scenario, what happens is there are, um, if you are looking into clinical operations, then it becomes a bit difficult to get into clinical operations from this field. But of course, what you can do is you can get into clinical data management, of course. You can get into that entry level role, and you can grow steadily, and it's a evergreen work, clinical data management. I mean, what I can understand from this question what you have put, Muskan, you can definitely get into that, I would suggest. Or if you are excited to understand more about how the adverse event reporting, or the pharmacovigilance works for any given studies, or in clinical research, then you can apply for pharmacovigilance role. Operations, to be frank enough, will be a bit difficult from this academics which is there, but you can test your part. I mean, of course, you can apply, but these two would be definitely open, and you can readily get in.
Thank you, sir. I hope this answers your question, Muskan. So there's another question for you from Mahesh C. The question is how to build a career in clinical research with PharmD background, and how to start the job finding, and what are the necessary steps to make one opportunity for fresher.
Great. So, Mahesh, I understand. So, Farm D is is all the companies are looking forward to, because this has come in last 3 to 4 years, where doctorate of pharmacies graduates are accepted in and out. And how do you start? So if you are a fresher, then I would suggest that um, if you can career in so if you have not, if you can take up a short course in clinical research, do that. PG diploma would suffice. Understand the concepts in and around clinical research. That will be an add-on advantage. Now, how do you start? So you best source is LinkedIn. So you can come out of Facebook and get into LinkedIn, and create your profile, put up job searches, connect with industry people. Now, like how you've known me, in through my network, you can know multiple others, and develop. So this is to everyone. So Google go in Google. You must be having your account. Put a simple job alert. What you're looking forward to. Just put a job alert that you're looking for a clinical research associate, junior clinical research associate, or pharma analyst, or I mean pharmacovigilance analyst, or pharmacovigilance associate. So whatever you want to get in, just put these alerts, and set up a weekly reminder or something in Google. These jobs will reach in your inbox. Apply through the portal career website or through LinkedIn, and try and connect with people within the industry. And of course, the networks and referrals will definitely work in. And if you have any of your seniors working in, pass it on through them, and then take it forward. Also, there are multiple internship programs like GSK, J&J, and various other companies would have internship programs. So definitely try and search for these internship programs. Get into those internship programs. You might get a stipend or not get a stipend, but you will interact with people, right? And you will know people, and that is how you can then walk up the ladder.
Thank you so much, sir. This is a really very important question, and you have really explained it in a wonderful manner. And like I can see some chats are on this only. Like even Kajal Singh has asked like how to find a job. So this really answers the question. So Kajal, and Mahesi, I hope this answers your question. Sir has really explained in a wonderful way. I can see some more questions are on the internship. Like they wanted to know whether the internship is online. We have a question from Ajit Kumar Yadav. You want to join the training program, so that's I'm really glad to know that you want to join the training program. But you mentioned that you are from Uttar Pradesh, so no problem, Mr. Ajit. Like you can join. Like it's an online course. Be anywhere you are, whether in Uttar Pradesh or some other city, you can join from your respective place. It's an online course. And even I think we Punita also, you have asked the same question, like whether it's this internship is online. So yes, definitely it's an online internship. Last question. We have already exceeded the time, so let's take up the last question. So we have a question from um, yeah. So we have a question from Chandrasekhar only. So wanted to know that he's from M.Sc Food Science. So will it be a good start for my career into clinical research? Snigdha ma'am, would you like to take up this question?
Uh, yes, ma'am. In MSc Food Science, MSc Food Science deals with nutritional interventions. I think diet-based studies uh, are there. So again, QA QC can, you can enter into QA QC kind of roles, assurance and quality control and everything, because it takes a lot of interventions into like food is acting, what are the dynamics, what are the kinetics. I think more sir can tell, I think it's of course a good thing to start, why not, but more sir can tell,
Yeah,
maybe.
so see, food science will you can target FMCG companies, or
Yeah.
Procter and Gamble, Nestle, or you can also look at from the government side of it. You can look at various labs. So you can also get into those labs. I think there was one question on microbiology also. So you can get into those labs which are certified to provide reports for clinical research, drugs and vaccines or biologicals. So I think that can happen. And for food science, of course, you can target FMCG companies, and also you can check these various standards which are being provided, on food gradings. So you can also check into that. So, and multiple research happens within this field as well. So a lot of R&D is set up in PNG, in Hindustan Liver, in Nestle. You can definitely look off to that. And as ma'am you said, so QA QC is one of the aspects, but operations is also there. So both the avenues are open in
Yeah.
this field.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Snigdha ma'am and sir.
Thank you.
So I know, dear attendees, you have a lot of questions, but due to time constraints, we will not be able to take them right now. So please feel free to post your questions at cst@biotecnika.org, and we'll be happy to answer them there. Also, if you want to know more about, like if you want to join the clinical research internship, upcoming internship, you can contact on through our toll-free number. So toll-free number is on your screen. The email ID is on your screen. You can definitely contact on the working days with our team, and they will happy to help you. So as we come to the close of today's insightful workshop, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for your active participation and enthusiasm. A special thanks to our esteemed speakers, Dr. Hitesh and Ms. Snigdha Tiwari, for sharing their valuable insights, real world experiences, and practical guidance. Your sessions have truly helped demystify the field of clinical research and opened up new perspectives for our attendees. And to all the participants, thank you for joining us today. We hope this session has been very informative and has sparked your interest in the exciting world of clinical research. So, wishing you all the very best in your academic and professional journeys. Thank you.